Good morning, everyone. Welcome on this Nature, Land Use, Ocean Day here at the Land and Drought Resilience Pavilion to the Desertification and Drought Day 2024 launch event. My name is Kehkasha. I am a UNCCD land hero, and I'm delighted to serve as moderator of this launch event for the 2024 Desertification and Drought Day, which is going to be a very special one because it is the 30th anniversary of the UNCCD adoption from way back in 1994. Now, personally, this is also very special for me because my first ever engagement with the UNCCD was on Desertification and Drought Day in 2012 as a 12-year-old. So I've quite literally grown up knowing the importance of this day to spread awareness about land degradation neutrality, why it's so important to achieve it, and why we must achieve it now. So, without any further ado, I would now like to invite to the stage the Executive Secretary of the UN Convention to Combat Desertification and Drought, Mr. Ibrahim Theo, to deliver his welcoming remarks.
Thank you very much for this. It's actually moving to know that you started this journey while you were 12. It's amazing, and welcome all to this. And I think we are live as well. So for those of you who are not able to join us here, please know that we are here today to have a special event on Desertification and Drought Day, which is 17th of June every year. For almost 30 years now, we have been working together as part of the Rio Conventions. One of the Rio Conventions is the Desertification Convention, which is proudly headquartered in Bonn, and we are very happy to call Bonn as home. And what I would like to do first is to welcome you all, and to first and foremost welcome the State Secretary Jochen Flashbach, who is with us today, and maybe making a very special announcement. So I'll come back on stage, but for now I would like to welcome the German authorities, starting with the State Secretary. Welcome.
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, Executive Secretary, dear friend Ibrahim, and dear friends. Friends of soil, let me put it that way, because it has another side of the coin. Droughts and desertification are that in which we are moving when we are losing fertile soil. As you know, Ibrahim, this is very close to my heart for a long, long time. For a long time, this convention the CCD was highly underestimated. Only over the recent years, policymakers more and more understood how relevant this convention is. Basically, it's at the heart of everything. If you want to hold the biodiversity loss, you will not make it without protecting our soil and our land and stopping land degradation. If you want to combat climate change, you have to stop combating to losing fertile soil. If you want to ensure food security around the world, you have to hold what we have, and you have to restore, and nicely put here, restoring degraded lands brings between $7 and $30 by investing just $1. So it's also obvious that we can do something. In this decade of restoration, land restoration needs to be at the very heart. This morning, we had a side event on the nexus between food security and land use. And I was on a panel on peatlands, and that immediately shows you how broad this agenda is. When it started in 1992, 30 years ago, that's why we are celebrating the anniversary, it was seen as an misleadingly was seen as an African convention. People in the world thought this is an African problem, land degradation. Correct me if I'm wrong, many in Africa thought so too. But now we have a much broader understanding. We know that everywhere in the world we are facing land degradation. And I can remember when we discussed it the other times, Ibrahim, that for example, looking at small islands, I mean, what they have, the rarest source they have is land. These few examples show how broad this agenda is, how essential it is to address it on the highest possible political level. Germany is very proud to host the Secretariat. I think we tried at least to be a good host, with the facilities in Bonn, but also with the support we are providing to the convention directly, but also through our programs addressing and capitalizing on the agenda of the UNCCD. So, for example, what we did over the last years with our support restored 700,000 hectares fertile land. And we have to continue with that. There's many initiatives, because as long as we don't stop it, we will not address the different challenges I mentioned. So I want to be brief, specifically as had been laid on this huge facility here in Dubai. It is next year's Desertification and Drought. You mentioned it, Executive Secretary. It's celebrated each and every year on the 17th of June. And at the same time in 2024, it will be the 30th anniversary of the UNCCD. And it's my pleasure and a special honor to announce today that Germany will host the Desertification and Drought Day on the 17th of June 2024, and at the same time celebrating the 30th anniversary of this wonderful convention.
Thank you very much, Mr. Theo and Mr. Flassbert, and thank you for that announcement. How exciting. And we shall now hear a video message from the Lady Mayor of Bonn, Ms. Katja Dörner.
Of Bonn, home to the United Nations Convention to Combat Desertification, I'm thrilled that Germany is hosting the Desertification and Drought Day 2024. Here, in Germany's United Nations city, is the place where the debates on climate, nature and land come together, and from where cross-cutting actions for implementing the 2030 agenda are advanced. Land is a foundation of life on Earth. Our future and future societies will depend on our ability to restore our foundations of life today. Healthy land is critical for climate protection, food security and sustainable development. And we are already beyond wake-up calls. Ladies and gentlemen, I full-heartedly welcome the Desertification and Drought Day here in Bonn. Together with the federal government of Germany and under the leadership of the Federal Minister for Economic Cooperation and Development, Mrs. Svenja Schulze, I will be delighted to host a meaningful event engaging political leaders, the land community, cultural stakeholders and the broader public alike. And as our future belongs to the generations ahead, I would very much like to see children and young people become an important part of our outreach and action. In Bonn, we will be very much looking forward to 17th June 2024 and to celebrating 30 years of UNCCD and 25 years in Bonn with a commemorative event that will have a lasting impact here in our city and far beyond.
Thank you very much, Lady Mayor, for your message. I shall now welcome back to the stage Executive Secretary Theo for his remarks.
Isn't it wonderful to have Germany and Bonn host the 30th anniversary of the UNCCD and 2024 Desertification and Drought Day? Thank you, Germany, for hosting us. Thank you for hosting this very special day. You know, 17th of June is, in the life of any executive secretary of the UNCCD, a very special day. It is like the anniversary of then a child, now an adult, reaching an age, a respectable age of 30, and turning to the next cycle of their life. The UNCCD was born out of the Rio Conventions, of the Rio process in 1992. Then it took the international community 2 years of negotiations and ratifications, and it entered into force in 1994. This is why we are celebrating the 30th anniversary in 2024. The UNCCD is about land, is about drought, is about ecosystems, is about people. People, it matters. Or you say peoples, depending on which language you are speaking, whether it's English or American or Australian. It is certainly one of the conventions that has human beings or human well-being as the foundation, as its root. It's about food security. We are dealing with issues like water. Without food, there is no human being on earth. Without water, life is even shorter for any human being. But we will be with no honor if we had no clothes. We tend to not really think that our fashion is also coming from land. Many of us may not know that the healthy air we breathe is also partially coming from land. And when land is degraded to the point where you have sand and dust storms, then you realize that the air you breathe is not taken, should not be taken for granted. Because the same land that is feeding us and nourishing us may be a silent killer if we are not careful and we go far into the destruction. Desertification and Drought Day is more than one day. It is not merely a celebration. It is a symbolic of we as international community coming together to actually mark a pause and reflect on our relationships with nature, on how we have been provided services that we think are free and we have always taken for granted, on how we should reflect on the types of relationships we need to, from now on, to have with nature and land. We need to respect nature. If not, nature will react. And if it does, it may be messy. And we, as humanity, have always extracted the resources from the land. We have always used our capacity and our ingenuity to managing water resources, managing land, managing landscapes. Perhaps we should even change our language, because we should not be considering them as resources to be managed. We should consider them as really our capital, without which there is no money you can eat, there is no food you can find, there is no air you can breathe, there is no water you can drink. Desertification and Drought Day last year was celebrated in New York at the headquarters of the United Nations, at the General Assembly of the United Nations, with the theme, Her Land, Her Rights. The year before, it was in another country, remarkably organized and hosted by Spain, with the theme related to drought. The year before, it was in Costa Rica. The year before, it was in Turkey. The year before, it was somewhere else. And the themes keep changing, and every theme we have is seen as extremely relevant. So we are looking forward to the discussions and to the dialogues we will be having on 17th of June in Bonn. This is our home. This is where we live. This is where, just having the pleasure of walking along the Rhine River, just having the pleasure of having the clean air you have in Bonn, just having the pleasure of having the clean transport system and the timely systems, everything is timed. For me as an African, I have a small problem with that, because you don't have any minute to be delayed. You know, we have time in Africa. So it is certainly a wonderful opportunity to be all celebrating in Bonn. 17th of June, I understand, is also a very special day for Germany. I was reminded of that. So it looks like this day is a special day, will be a special day for us. June is also a very special moment in Germany where climate talks are occurring, and we will be very happy to work with our climate secretariat colleagues to make an event and to organize an event that will be meaningful. 17th of June is also that week where Dutch Valley will be having a big gathering. So I think all together, let me just say this, and I'll close. Please be in Bonn, 17th of June, 2024, because the world will be rallying there, because you will have special events in a very special place in the Museum of Bonn. You will have huge opportunities to interact, but you will have also the history of the convention narrated and actually curated by the museum and the exhibition that will be taking place. If you want to know more about the past, but more importantly, if you want to be an active partner in the future, please be in Bonn, 17th of June, 2024. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Theo. And now may I invite both Mr. Theo and Mr. Flasberg to the stage for the symbolic presentation of the next host of the Desertification and Drought Global Observance in 2024.
Okay. So, as the Secretary said, the last drought and desertification day was in New York at the headquarters of the United Nations, and now and in 2024, as by both of us announced, we are very proud to host it. And on 17th of June in 2024, we are very proud to host it in Bonn, the UN capital in Germany. And it's also for us a very special moment to link in this way through the CCD and through the Drought and Desertification Day, the UN headquarters with the UN campus in Bonn. You see it here. I think you also could spot your office. And it's a pleasure.
My office is somewhere here.
Somewhere there. Okay. So, welcome in 2024, everybody, to the Drought and Desertification Day in Bonn.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And we will sure that transportation will be there in time, everything punctual. You know, a very good friend of mine, the former head of the national parks in Kenya, Julius Kipingetich, told me once that he visited Bonn and saw at the bus station an announcement, a bus line leaving at 9:02. And he said, this cannot be. So he waited there, and he was very satisfied that the bus was not coming on 9:02. But then he realized that on 9:03, everybody was concerned and worried and angry. So that's a bit of Germany. Okay, thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. This concludes our event today, and we for sure hope to see you at the Desertification and Drought Day 2024 in Bonn. Thank you, everyone.